Good evening, everyone. Tonight's meeting is open to the public. Warm welcome to you all. My name is Councillor Andrew Sanger. I am the chair of the South West Local Area Committee. Before I ask other councillors to introduce themselves, I'll hand over to the committee clerk to read out the housekeeping arrangements.
Thank you, Chair. Before we start, there are just a few housekeeping arrangements to mention. Please can I request everyone to switch off electronic devices or to silent mode so as not to disturb the conduct of the meeting. There's no fire test planned today. If there is an emergency evacuation, please take instruction from the council staff present. The assembly point is back outside the building at the front of the building near the main wall at the bottom. The toilet facilities are situated back through these doors, along the corridor, and then just before the steps. The men's and the disabled toilets are on the right, and the ladies are just up the stairs and straight ahead. The meeting today is open to the public and will be streamed live and for subsequent broadcast via the Council's website. You should be aware that the Council is a data controller under the Data Protection Act. Data collected during this webcast will be retained in accordance with the Council's published policy. By entering the meeting room, you are consenting to be filmed and to the possible use of those images and sound recordings for webcasting. Any member of the public due to speak at the meeting who does not wish to be filmed should say so at the start of their speech. The Chair will suspend the permission to film their contribution. The webcast will only record the audio contribution. Members of the public are permitted to take photographs and to film or audio record the meeting in accordance with the protocol for webcasting, filming and recording of Sheffield City Council meetings. If anyone wishes to film or record this meeting, please make yourself known to us now. Okay, thank you, Chair.
Okay, can I ask that members and officers around the various tables introduce themselves? So, starting with Tanya.
Tanya Bustamante, South West Local Area Committee Manager.
Filippo Bedette, Democratic Services Officer.
Oh, I'll have a go. Councillor Peter Gilbert for Ecclesall. Councillor Minesh Parrott for Crooks and Crossball.
Tim.
Councillor Tim Huggan, Crooks and Crossball.
Barbara.
Councillor Barbara Masters for Ecclesall.
Councillor Rebecca Atkinson, Durham-Totley.
Sue.
Councillor Sue Alston, Forward.
And Councillor Cliff Woodcraft, also for Forward.
Joe.
Councillor Joe Otten, Durham-Totley.
Carl. Yeah, after that. Carl. Is it doing this? Jason or Carl? Okay, thank you very much. Apologies, this is item 2, apologies for absence.
We have apologies from Councillor Ruth Milsom, Councillor Shafaq Mohammed and Councillor Martin Smith.
Thank you. Item 3, exclusion of public and press. There are no items that require the exclusion of the public and press. Item 4, declarations of interest. Do any councillors wish to declare an interest in any of the items of business on the agenda? No, thank you very much. Item 5, minutes of the previous meeting. I'd like to ask members to approve as a correct record the minutes of the last meeting held on 30th February 2025. Can we agree those? Thank you very much.
Sorry, Chair, I was just on the minutes. I've got a query here from a member of the public on 27.5. There seems to be an error.
Okay, Paul May, I did ask question 1. I did not ask question 2 and 3. This is just for accuracy. Somebody else asked those questions. I'm not sure who. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. We will look into that and get back to you because we need to record, the correct questions so we can get back to them with an answer. So, yeah, very important point. Thank you.
Chair. There's also an excess apostrophe in 27.7.
That's usually what I spot, so well done, Minesh. Thank you. Okay, moving on. So thank you for those corrections, and we'll follow up Paul's point. We'll make Minesh's correction, and we'll follow up Paul's point about finding out who asked the question. Items 6, 7 and 8 are partner presentations. So I will now invite Joe Pass to give a presentation around adult health and social care. This will be followed by Adam Howard from Age UK around the People Keeping Well network. And finally, we will hear from Elsie Ledger about dementia support and early hospital discharge.
To do anything technical, or are we okay with the slide? Okay. Hello, good evening. My name's Jo Pass. I'm an Assistant Director for Adult Care and Wellbeing. As my stutter might indicate, I'm a bit nervous today, so please bear with me. I was asked today to come along and just talk to you a bit about adult care and wellbeing. About a 15-minute presentation about an absolutely huge area. So to describe it as a whistle stop is probably a little bit of an understatement. And for every one of the slides I present today, I could absolutely do a whole presentation on, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions. I'm going to try and give a bit of an overview, but within the limitations of that, it sort of presents things as a linear process, but our lives are very rarely like that. So it's not as linear. People chop and change and move in and out of lots of different areas. But I will try to give you as a bit of a feel. But before I do that, I just want to set the scene a little bit. So the council plan, and I apologise, one of the things I wasn't quite clear on is at what level to gear this, so I apologise if I'm covering things that everybody knows really well. I just wanted to set the scene from my perspective. The council plan and city goals and the work of adult care and wellbeing really support how we take forward on our city goals and ambitions and how we deliver on our legal duties. So we've, in adult care and wellbeing, very much are part and sit within this and are invested in delivering on this. As I'm sure everybody here knows, in 2022, following the referendum, the people of Sheffield wanted to move to a committee system. In adult care and wellbeing, we report to the Health and Social Care Committee, and the committee really does provide robust scrutiny of our policies and performance and provides approval of our policy developments in adult care and wellbeing. Our vision and strategy was developed following extensive consultation with citizens, with partners, and it really pulls together on delivering on our statutory and legal duties, and it articulates our vision, and it really helps that connection with the council's policies and priorities. And our governance processes challenge us to evidence how we are delivering on all these key themes in adult care and wellbeing. I just wanted to highlight a few kind of key points for me. So in adult care and wellbeing, we deliver on our statutory duties as defined within legislation. And key bits of legislation for the work that we do are the Care Act, the Mental Capacity Act and the Mental Health Act. In my part of the world, the first two, the Care Act and the Mental Capacity Act, are absolutely our bread and butter. And so what we deliver is determined by that legislative framework. We have a duty to prevent, reduce and delay onset of eligible needs. And we will here talk about today, have presentations from partner organisations that deliver so much for our city that help support that. But the point I wanted to make in relation to people with eligible social care needs is that duty to prevent, reduce, delay never stops. And it's something that we take right the way through anybody's work with us. And we also have a really important duty and key principle, which is to enable people to live as independently as possible. And again, no matter how great somebody's needs are, how extensive their support package is, we will stick to those principles around preventing, reducing, delaying, and enabling that person to live as independently as possible. I'm going to kind of look a little bit now from the perspective of how somebody may come into contact with us within adult care and wellbeing. And the first point of contact may be to seek some information and advice. And as we will hear, our information and advice offer in the city is supported by a wide range of organisations and support. But we do have the Sheffield Directory, which offers a huge amount of information around a wide range of services. We also have the Sheffield Advocacy Hub, who are commissioned to provide information and advice. Now, I know that the directory is obviously, it's an online offer, and for some people that makes it really difficult. I have parents that are in their 80s and have constant discussions about why we can't have something and pen in paper, and not to get us started on the whole subject of QR codes. But for those that are able to, the Sheffield Directory provides a wealth of information. It now can be converted. You can convert that information into a wide range of languages, which is brilliant. And it also, you can create booklets of the information that is relevant to you. And for people that maybe not be able to access that online offer, our first contact service, our Home First access and prevention service will talk you through, will provide any information you need, and we're piloting other routes by which we can strengthen our community's offer to get information and advice available to everybody at the time they need it. Our Home First service is one that where it may be your first point of contact into adult care and wellbeing. When I say it's one of our main front doors, it may be that you are somebody that is transitioning through children's services into adult services. It may also be that your first contact is because you've gone into hospital and you are recovering, or you've come out with needs that you perhaps didn't have before admission. But this is one of our main contact routes in. And it is strength-based. It supports people to connect to organisations, and again, we'll look to do that, reduce, prevent, delay. We have OT services and adaptations and equipment and a proactive and proportionate response to maintain independence, reduce risk and improve safety and well-being. But you may have somebody that is well known within our living and ageing well, is connected very much within our services, but actually their needs are such that an OT referral becomes appropriate, or a bit of equipment actually really helps promote their independence. Technology. Tech is developing all the time. It is not a silver bullet, but it does offer really exciting potential to support people to live the life they want to live as independently as possible. Carers. The term carers is problematic for many people. you know, I'm not a carer. I'm a partner, or I'm a daughter, but you may also be providing informal care to somebody that you love. And in Sheffield, we know the census data tells us that we have around 60,000 informal carers in the city, and they provide so much. And we're really committed to supporting our informal carers. When I say around 60,000, because of that term, we think that everything tells us that the number is probably underestimates the number of carers. In 2022, we commissioned the Sheffield Carer Centre to provide support to informal carers, and they offer a universal sort of prevention offer, which includes an advice line, information and advice, time for a break grant, legal advice. There's a wide range of support there for people, and they also will undertake carers assessment and support planning. They do a great job, but they are not the only way in which informal carers are supported. Many of our organisations support informal carers. I'll pick an example from my area is the Memory Cafe, and carers have spoken to me about being in memory cafes is a really kind of a place where they can relax, they can talk to peers, they can get to advice and information. It's really a valuable space. And if somebody has eligible social care needs and we're supporting them, we, within our support plan, need to think about how we support that carer so that they can sustain what they and their loved ones want to do. So you may have come through, may have come through, and you have long-term eligible support needs. We have three kind of main sort of area services. Adult Future Options works with all adults over the age of 18 who have eligible social care needs and have physical or learning disabilities needs. And it's a huge area. They work with people living in the community, look at opportunities for employment, meaningful activities. They work with people in supported living, in residential care. Again, that strand of promoting independence, looking to be aspirational for people is very much part of what they do. We also have adult mental health services, which is working with people aged from 18 to 65 who have functional mental health needs and who have eligible social care needs due to a functional mental illness. And then my area, my living and ageing well. And we support people who are over the age of 65 and or are living with a dementia, who have eligible social care needs. And our team, and within our service, we have community social work teams. They are based around the primary care network. We also have home care services that are again commissioned around the primary care network. So what we're trying to do is create a team around the person at a time where you may well have health and needs going on and connecting into your health services. I don't know how much time I've got, so I'm just going to keep going for a little bit, if that's all right. We will work to assess and understand a person's needs and then work with you to identify how we can work together to ensure that your support needs are met. And there are a huge variety of options, from accessing a direct payment, which gives you maximum choice and control over how you meet your support needs, to council arranged services. There is a huge array. We support people through social work teams when they're coming out of hospital to ensure that you have the support in that recovery and recuperation. We support people living in residential and nursing homes as well. It felt important to acknowledge that, unlike the NHS, adult social care is not free, and most people pay for some or all of their care and support. And a financial assessment needs to be completed, and it's a means-tested assessment to see how much people need to pay towards their cost of care and support. There is a little more information on the slide about how we do that, but it felt important to acknowledge that. This to me, I'm just finishing, people are at the heart of what we do, because speaking personally and speaking for our teams and my service, this is really, really important to us. For me personally, I trained as a social worker. I came into social work because I knew it has been me, it could be me, it will be me, or my loved ones who access this support in the future. And I wanted to ensure that we are delivering services that keep that person at the heart of what we do. And that to me is a really crucial value that I know my services stick with. Thank you. Sorry for the stutters and it's a little bit of nerves. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe. And sort of continuing the same theme, so we've now got Adam and Elsie from Age UK. Are you doing it together or are they separate ones?
We're doing it in sequence.
Okay, that's fine.
Am I all right? Right, yeah, great. So, good evening. My name's Adam Howard from Age UK Sheffield. Shall I wave when I want the slide moved? Sorry? Yeah, okay, I'll do that. So as Joe has alluded to there, where do our life journeys take us and what's coming next? None of us really know, do we? We can guess, but we don't know. And often they lead us into areas where difficulties arise. Sometimes they're predictable, sometimes they're not. Things such as retirement makes a big difference to our outlook and our social connections. Maybe an illness or a disability comes to us. We lose friends as we get older. All sorts of different things can mean our life circumstances change, and the balance that we once knew starts to, slip away. And so this is really some of the rationale, the thinking that lies behind this programme, People Keeping Well, which Age UK Sheffield delivers in the southwest of Sheffield. I've just put a couple of quotes on here from people who use one of the activity groups, which I hope just illustrates what a difference it makes to have a regular social contact, something that you enjoy, and people that you know you're going to meet each week. And I've heard this again and again when I've visited these groups, what a big difference it makes. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. So, as I said, we covered the southwest of Sheffield, and the area in yellow is our patch, is the districts listed here. As everybody here knows, I'm sure, it's not the poorest part of Sheffield. In fact, it covers some of the most well-off parts of Sheffield, which doesn't mean that there aren't pockets of poverty and deprivation within these areas. But it also means that a lot of the problems which people face are common throughout the city. The sort of things I was just alluding to, loss of social contact, loss of physical mobility, loss of physical health, perhaps mental health difficulties. And this is the sort of thing that the People Keeping Well programme is designed to address. Just one thing to mention on the southwest of Sheffield, that we do work with a lot of faith organisations. It's one of the features of southwest Sheffield that we have a very strong faith sector, and the different churches and faith groups across the area do a huge amount of really good work in their communities. So it's just something I've noted in the year and 3 months that I've been in this post. It's very striking in the southwest of Sheffield. Okay, so the next one. So just a little bit about the People Keeping Well programme itself then. There's all sorts of different activities that take place on a regular basis. A lot of them are weekly. One of our activities is the Singing Teapot Choir, which is putting on a performance in July with the pupils of Tottley All Saints School. So it's a group of older people working with primary school aged children to sing songs from the shows, which I'm really looking forward to. And so there's a whole range of different activities. This programme is 3 pages long. We have got copies if you'd like to take one after the meeting. Yes, and so that's the People Keeping Well programme, but as part of the People Keeping Well offer, we also provide one-to-one services, including the Independent Living Coordination Service, which Elsie's going to say a little bit more about, and also an advice service. So there's one-to-one work and there's a lot of group activities that take place. Okay. So the side of it which I'm most involved with is this programme that offers the activity programme, which we've just seen. It also offers a grant programme. We have a budget of just over £15,000 a year, which helps fund some of these activities. Obviously, it's not a huge amount of money, but it can act as seed funding, particularly if people have an idea that, I'd like to have a go at something in my community, but we need some equipment, we need to hire a venue, maybe we need to pay a tutor to deliver. We can provide grants of up to £500 via this Get Involved grant programme. So that's the application forms are available on our website. You've got an idea, or if you know somebody who has an idea, please do let them know about that. We also have a network of organisations that are active in South West Sheffield. There's over 130 members of that network now, and we meet once a month, usually online, but occasionally in person. Last month we met at Willow Hall Farm, and we had a tour of the farm, which was another of Sheffield's hidden treasures. And what happens in that network is people spark ideas off each other. That's really how, in my view, it works the best. For example, there's an issue about transport, getting people to and from activities. So Fiona from Transport 17 is a very active member. People talk to her, she discusses options for recruiting more volunteers for the transport services. And that's the sort of thing that the network's really good at. Okay, next one, please. So, with all this activity, is it actually making a difference to people's lives? That's the next question, isn't it? We can all be running around as busy as anything, but are we just sort of busy fools and people's lives carry on as they were before? So we thought, well, we need to have a bit of a look at this, and we've gone to some of the groups and asked people what their experience is of the activities that they're taking part in. This is a community exercise class in Bradway. It may be a bit difficult to read from the back, I suspect, but so this is how long people have been involved with it. Most people have been involved for more than a year. Has their physical health improved or stayed the same or deteriorated? Most say it's improved. It's a very lively class with Community Wellness Service. Jean was a tutor, very, very capable. People are really enjoying themselves, people mostly in their 80s and 90s. What about your mental health? Well, most people say it's stayed around the same. But nobody said it's got worse, which is a good sign. We just asked about calling for emergency services because this is part of what the People Keeping Well programme is designed to reduce. If people are active and engaged, then their health is maintained and less call, hopefully, on emergency services. Have you met new people? Between 10 and 20 new people. Most people said that's the number they met. Have you made new friends? And the largest number, that's what over half the people said they've made more than 3 people they would now count as new friends. So I think that demonstrates that that we are making the sort of difference that we're looking to make with this programme. Just to have a quick look at the statistics, really, the numbers. So this was the latest. This is the average over the last year. So in each 3 months, these are the numbers of people that were given advice by an independent living coordinator, used our specific advice service, took part in group activities, and took part in the network events. So it just gives you a little bit of a flavour of the numbers. Okay. So that's me. I'm going to hand over to my colleague Elsie now to tell you a little bit more about Age UK's wider services. Please do get in touch. What I forgot to put here is my email, but the Age UK pattern is always the same. It's adam.howard@ this bottom, ageuksheffield.org.uk. So if you do need to get in touch with my email, that's me. Okay.
Thanks, Adam.
Hello everybody, I'm going to sit down, but I'll tell you when to do the next slide. My first thing is, I'm so sorry, I should have put some pictures on my slides. I didn't realise it was going to be such a big screen. But yeah, hopefully I can give you a little flavour of all the other services that we do across Sheffield. So next slide please. So this is just a list of most of our citywide services, but I have to say there are some services that aren't on this list. And I have been working for Age UK Sheffield for 3 years, and I quite often go into the leaflet cupboard and there's new leaflets in there and there's new services coming to us all of the time. So we do a ton of different things. All of these services that are listed on the screen are free services for anybody in Sheffield to access. So Age UK Sheffield supports people over the age of 50. We have a lot of dementia services, and for dementia we support anybody of any age as well. I'm going to talk in a little bit of detail about, I think, 4 of these services, but I know I don't have very much time. I think we might be slightly over. So I'm going to try to be fast, but if anybody has any questions about any of them, I'll make sure you get my information as well. Okay, next slide, please. So the first one that I really wanted to highlight was our hospital discharge service. This is an incredible service that we don't speak about enough. Obviously, being a voluntary sector organisation, we're careful not to get overwhelmed with referrals, but I think this is something that more people need to know about. So for the hospital discharge service, it's for somebody that's been recently discharged from hospital. We don't have a very strict criteria on this. It's generally within the last few weeks. Often older people go into hospital. It could be for whatever reason, but their needs change. So they might lose their mobility. They may go in for a small surgery. They may have a virus that means when they get back home, they can't be quite as independent as they once were. I used to work on our hospital activities service, so that's delivering cognitive stimulation and wellbeing support to patients on Braille 2 and Braille 7. And very proud. Sheffield people, in the 80s and 90s can be very proud people, very adamant that they don't want any help or they don't need any help. But going into hospital, staying there for a couple of weeks, being bed bound while you're there, it changes things a little bit. So our hospital discharge service offers 6 weeks of free practical support. So this is support outside of the carer's remit, so it's not personal care. It's things like taking to appointments, doing a bit of shopping, taking people out and about and getting them linked in with different activities and support that they might need. It's also supporting people to apply for benefits or get a benefit check, ensuring that they're maximising their income, get referrals to adult social care, as Joe mentioned, or equipment and adaptations. And the idea is that after those 6 weeks, people regain a little bit of independence. They've got the skills, they've got the services to continue to live independently, to hopefully not be readmitted into hospital, to take a little bit of a strain off of the NHS and off of the PCNs. And it is just really an amazing service. I've got lots of leaflets if anybody wants to take any. If there's any groups or people you're in contact with that could benefit from this, just take some of the leaflets. Next slide, please. And that leads really nicely onto one of the things that we're really trying to push at the minute, which is getting a benefit check. So we offer free benefit checks to anyone over the age of 65. We can do these in our office, we can go out to people at home. We're having drop-in sessions up in Hillsborough Pavilion every Tuesday. And last year we secured over £2.5 million in extra money for the older population in Sheffield, which is absolutely a staggering amount. Again, as I was saying previously, people can be very proud and not want to look for this. But we all know the cost of living is getting increasingly difficult. It is difficult for us as a charity, but we're very keen to support people over 65 to get those benefit checks and ensure that they're getting everything that they're entitled to. Next slide, please. So a couple of the other services that I think, again, we don't speak about enough. The first one leads very nicely on from the last slide that I talked about. Scams awareness. So scams are getting very difficult to spot and they're getting more and more common. So we offer free one-to-one home visits, giving people a scams advice session, what to do if they've been scammed, how to prevent getting scammed in future. We also fit the free phone call blockers, so that prevents the scam calls coming through. I know some people get, up to 20 of them a day, which can be really distressing for people, especially people living with dementia, which isn't something I have a slide on. I'm really sorry, but we do have a lot of dementia services. Again, I've got all the information with me, and I think my colleague Nicola, who works on the Dementia Advice Service, will be coming round the tables in the next part of the evening. And then the Digital Champion Service. As Joe mentioned earlier, technology, we can't ignore it. It's going to be an even more integral part of everybody's lives. So the Digital Champion Service offers at-home visits to teach people how to use technology. We have many drop-in sessions across the city. And we even offer out different digital devices for people to try out before they buy. So that could be an Alexa, it could be an iPad or a smartphone. We teach people anything they'd like to know, so whether it's how to do online banking or how to do their food shop online, it can be anything at all. We've got a big range of digital champion volunteers who can go out and support that. And I am being very cautious of time here because I know we're running on a little bit, but I did want to mention our dementia services, which is, for me, a passion. I started with Age UK delivering our Rosemary Cafes, which is in the People Keeping Well Southwest in Dore and Bents Green. We have a massive range of dementia services, but the main one that I would recommend is Dementia Advice Sheffield. It's for any non-medical questions, Monday to Friday, even just a listening ear if somebody wants to talk about what they're struggling with. I would really ask everybody in the room to just pick up a dementia advice leaflet on your way out. It's very likely you know somebody who's living with dementia or one day will be living with dementia, and it's just really important to know that service is there. It's an incredible service. Nicola and Sarah do an absolutely wonderful job, and they can link you in with all the different support across the city, including the over 40 memory cafes that we have now. There's a ton of support in Sheffield. I was speaking to somebody a little bit earlier today. Not everywhere has this support. We're really lucky, and I'm really, really proud to be part of the dementia support in Sheffield because it is wonderful. So please do take a DAS leaflet on your way out and give it to somebody that you might know. I could speak all day about all our services. Honestly, I could speak all day about... Time's pretty much up. So thank you so much. That's just our general number. If there's something we don't do, we know who does and we can link you in with them. So make a note of the number. And thank you so much for listening to me.
Right, that was, hopefully that's inspired you. You've got lots of questions and lots of ideas for the table discussion, which we'll now move to for the next 50 minutes or so. So members keeping seated, aren't they? And partner organisations and services will facilitate conversations at tables around the theme of support and preventative healthcare. So opportunity to discuss what you think is needed in the South West, explore what we already do, see if there's any extra initiatives we should take on, either locally or nationally, things we want to explore. So next 50 minutes, and how often is the rotations? Just clear?
So it's roughly 10 minutes. We're going to be asking partners to rotate round to the different tables, just so that every discussion has that specialist input relay. We are going to be taking notes as well, but we do invite you to use the pens, the post-it notes, the papers are on the table. If you've got any ideas and suggestions, please take a note of them and leave them on the table if you don't feel like they've been captured.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we're back on webcasting. So item 10 is the South West Local Area Committee Budget Report. So I will hand over to Tanya Bustamante, South West LAC Manager, to give an update on our budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So this finance paper today, which is part of the agenda pack, which you can see on the tables throughout around the room, there's two parts to it. Firstly, it's brought for members to note the final spend on the snapshot for the community plan funding for the last financial year for 24-25. I won't go through the detail of it. We've covered most of it in previous meetings, but just to note that the full spend for the year was £99,968 for a real range of activity, as sort of set out in the report. Just to quickly pull out that we ran the first of our local business networking events last Thursday. They were really positively received, and we have another business networking meeting happening on the 28th of May at the Dale Sports Club on Aberdare Road. So it's great to see that piece of work developing and seeing sort of local businesses connecting and seeing how we can build upon that for the next year. Another project to pull out is that we're actually hosting the South West LAC Green Eco Green Fair on Sunday at Ecclesall Woods Discovery Centre. So everybody's welcome to that. Please come along. We've got some great local initiatives and activities that we're trying to sort of promote and raise the profile of around sustainability and the environment. The weather's looking really good, so please come along and drop by. Moving on to the second part of the budget as well, paper. This element on the finance report is for formal decision from the committee tonight. So the three themes of the community plan that work sits under will remain the same. So we've got transport and highways, local environment and community and neighbourhoods. The proposed finance allocation is set out within the document, as you can see, which I'll just run through now. The construction costs of double yellow lines in each ward from the collective traffic regulation order project from the previous year. That's set at £8,453. Under the community and neighbourhoods theme, the first project to highlight here is a South West LAC men's talk group, and that's £14,655 in total. And this is funding to deliver a men's talk group in each ward to run for the full year ahead. £5,136 in total for the 80th VE Day grant celebration funding, which covers 13 separate activities taking place in the area. And then we have the allocation of the South West LAC award funds, so that's £20,000 in total, and that is funding for each ward split equally to invest in local projects that deliver against the community plan priorities. And then finally, it's profiling at this point £2,000 to enable engagement and public meeting costs, which would include sort of venue hire for the year ahead and any resources required. Just to note as well, any underspend from these projects will be reported back in future meetings, and they will be put back towards the total community plan budget available for further allocation by the committee. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so just looking at councillors, are there any questions or comments on that? If not, I say clearly this will be coming back to future LAC meetings, but if we look at the recommendations, so we're noting also Councillor. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So this is based on a project from, well, actually not last year, the year before, where as a LAC, committee members put a collective traffic regulation order together to fall for the area, which would enable a set of double yellow lines for each ward. That project was extended just because the engagement side of it, Transport and Highways actually introduced a new digital system for engaging on the traffic regulation order, which is a formal part of the process, which meant that it's this year, the actual objection report was not seen by the committee until April, so the actual costs for the construction have to come out of this year's budget. And at the minute it stands at 8,453, which is a little bit higher than we were initially quoted a couple of years ago.
So I mean, just answering, wearing two different hats. It's on the budget. It's on the budget because we, as a LAC, said we wanted to respond to some of the public demands for extra double yellow lines across the southwest, and we chose to say, can we do that? And that was in 22-23, as Tanya has explained, because the council changed the software, and we moved to a system that will be better. It's ended up being on the spend is on the 25-26, despite we took the decision in 22-23. We have cross-party sat down with the Director of Highways and the project manager to explain to him that we need a quicker system. A system that takes 3 years is not one which we think is responsive enough to the people of Sheffield. I have to say that the other item that came to Transport Committee at the same time, which was the officer-led one, which was their scoring system, were mainly schemes that were being promoted in 2018 and 2019. So, however frustrated you might be that the 22-23 schemes are being implemented in 25-26, you should be grateful that the other ones are also being implemented. Hopefully, officers will take on board the comments from Liberal Democrat, Labour, Green councillors who have all expressed concern that this process is not as speedy as it could be. This is meant to be members' questions. Really keen to just keep it to members and get through this. We've got some public questions to come up with next. So, can we agree the recommendation, which is to note the £100,000, agree with the allocation of the first 50,000, and to report back at the next LAC meeting?
Are these double yellow lines going to be put in potholes? Because there's a brand new cycle lane on Northumberland Road, and the brand new white lines have been put straight through the middle of potholes, which to me just doesn't really seem like a good use of public money.
Okay, you make your point, sir.
I also just wanted to comment on the digital engagement tool, which I shared with some colleagues. Like, this is, parking bays are going to be gotten rid of close to us. We're already under a lot of pressure for parking at work, working on neurodegenerative disease research. And so they've clicked on the TRO consultation thing, and it's really unclear. There's little blobs on a map, and each one you click into individually to read about what the proposal is. And it's summarised in that booklet, which all of these people don't have. It's just interesting to hear that that's what this thing related to, this 8,000 expenditure, is the digital tool.
Okay, point taken. Okay, can we agree that, colleagues, can we agree the recommendations? Thank you very much indeed. Okay, item 11. We have received some questions in advance. So for those in attendance who would like to address the committee with their questions in turn, so can we start with Christopher Nash, if he's here? Oh, but he's not here, but I'm going to read his question out. I know we've got colleagues from South Yorkshire Police to answer this. So S11 and the western suburbs of the city have suffered a prolific and seemingly never-ending wave of car thefts and thefts from vehicles for months. What evidence of convictions can you provide in respect to the perpetrators of these crimes? Also, how hopeful can we be that your actions will deter these criminals in the long term? So I understand that Sergeant John Clack is going to answer that.
Right, evening everyone. We can't extract the information of convictions for particular crimes in a certain area, but what I can give you is the arrest in relation to residential burglaries across Sheffield, which was 73, and arrest for motor vehicle crime, which was 37. Going into the second part of the question, there being a crime wave in Ecclesall, in the southwest, of all those crime types that are reported, only 10% of those are in Ecclesall. So it's not a case there's a massive crime wave going on in Ecclesall. Only 10% of those are in Ecclesall area. There was a spike in February, which we addressed by increasing patrols. We got traffic in the area, plainclothes patrols, and we worked into the area hours. And I think this was in relation to youths going around on bikes wearing balaclavas. Since that day, we've seen a 91% reduction in burglaries and motor vehicle crime. And some of the figures just for the last month, for between 16th of April and today, there's been no burglaries. A motor vehicle crime, there's been 7, and that was 6 theft from motor vehicles and 1 theft of motor vehicle. So we have seen quite a large reduction in motor vehicle crime and burglaries. As I say, in February there was that spike, which we've responded to, but there's not a massive crime wave as such going off in Ecclesall, and it's really good news that we've had no burglaries reported to in the past month. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. Okay, shall we move on to the question from Dr. Anne-Marie Williamson?
Thank you. So this was to the councillors in the South West. I wanted to ask what the response you're providing to the consultation on banning heather and grass burning in England to protect the residents of South West Sheffield. As you may be aware, the practice of moorland burning in the grouse moors surrounding South West Sheffield continues to have serious consequences for public health, the environment and our local economy. The smoke that's released during these burns significantly worsens air quality, harming residents, especially those with respiratory conditions like asthma. And in October 2023, when heather was burned at Redmires, I personally had breathing difficulties due to the pollution. Studies have linked these pollutants to strokes, cardiovascular diseases and lung cancer. While Sheffield has rightly introduced a low emission zone for vehicles to protect public health, what steps are being taken to address harmful emissions from publicly funded grouse shooting estates? In terms of impacts on climate and flood risk, the moorland burning degrades the peatland, turning a vital carbon sink into a source of emissions, directly undermining efforts to achieve net zero. Additionally, healthy peatlands play a crucial role in reducing flood risk by maintaining natural water retention. Their destruction increases flood risk for local residents, which is another urgent reason to prioritise peatland conservation. And then in terms of financial burden on residents, Yorkshire Water has highlighted that water bills in our area are unnecessarily high due to the additional treatment costs for removing dissolved organic matter from runoff caused by eroded soils. So better protection of upland peatlands would reduce these costs, directly benefiting households across the region. And finally, loss of wildlife habitat. Burning woodlands damages essential ecosystems, threatening the biodiversity that relies on these environments. So protecting these peatlands would support wildlife and maintain the natural balance that benefits our community. So I'm urging you to take decisive action. I know the consultation is up to close soon on May the 25th, and I wondered what inputs our councillors have made to that consultation.
Thank you very much for the question, and can I say, as somebody who suffers with quite severe asthma. I was particularly badly affected in October 23 by that burning. So it's a personal issue for me to make sure that it is resolved. It's clearly a situation where the council is not under complete control. It's really welcome that the government is carrying out this consultation and the council will be responding. So just to go through the response, so this is from Parks and Countryside Service. Representatives from several council departments have worked together to draft a response to the consultation, as we've recognised its importance to many factors, including air quality, health, climate, flooding and biodiversity. We've also met with partners to discuss the issue. As the consultation response has yet to be finalised, we aren't currently in a position to share the further detail. However, we will be in touch again to provide a further update as soon as we're able to. So when the council response is complete, we will share that information back with you via South West LAC officers. As you can see here, it was also subject to a question by Councillor Ruth Milsom to the leader of the council, Councillor Tom Hunt. And you can see Councillor Hunt's response, but let's do the first and last paragraphs. So I share the concern and anger that residents have about the moorland burning. I've written to the Secretary of State for the Environment, Farming and Rural Affairs to call on the government to take action to end the destructive practice, to put pressure on landowners to put an immediate end to it this season. Clearly that didn't happen, but there has been a change of government since then. And Councillor Hunt continues, I would like to thank residents who have raised their voice in opposition to the destructive practice of moorland burning. The government and landowners need to listen to local anger and take action to end moorland burning. So the council will do what it can. The council's got various partners in the city who are opposed to it. There'll be a response that we'll put into government. We'll continue to lobby government. There has been a change of government, and we are optimistic that Sheffield residents the council will put a strong case into government, and optimistic that the government will respond in a positive way. I understand Councillor Gilbert would like to add to that answer.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I want to add to that because it's something I'm really passionate about. I have responded as a councillor to the consultation, and as Councillor Sengar says, the council's response is being worked on. It's certainly going to happen, so you don't have to worry about that. And I'm confident that Tom Hunt, the leader of the council, and the officers will put in a strongly worded response to that consultation. Myself, I'm calling for a total ban, not just reducing it to 30 centimetres. And I have worked with the leader of the council and Nikki Rivers and officers and the RSPB to link up the council with scientists at the University of Sheffield who are working on satellite data and geolocation that can identify where these fires are happening and thus hold the landowners responsible for the fires, hold them to account. Because previously the council, although it might have some powers called smoke abatement notices, often it's hard for them to know who is responsible. So through using the scientists, the smart people we have in this amazing city, we're hoping we'll be able to make more action on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. And I say the commitment from the council is to get back to you, and I will make sure that we get back to you. Okay, Charlotte Killier, do you want to ask your question?
This seems a very timely question as we've been talking about preventative health measures this evening. So rates of melanoma skin cancer are increasing in the UK. It's now the 5th most common cancer. About 25,000 people a year are diagnosed with it, and that is set to rise. 86% of that, though, preventable, making it one of the most preventable cancers that people have. It only takes 5 sunburns to double a person's risk of developing melanoma. I'm one of those statistics. At 41, I was diagnosed with melanoma, and it later progressed to stage 4, which means that it went to my lungs, my neck, and my brain, which is why I'm so passionate about this topic. Using sun cream, we know, is a highly effective way that people can protect themselves and their families. However, recent research conducted by charity Melanoma Focus has shown that almost 30% of people in Sheffield rarely or never wear sun cream. And of that, 17% of those people, it's because sun cream is too expensive. So, what I'm asking for is, could Sheffield Westlac consider funding a sun cream dispenser in our area to promote sun safety and give people wider access to sun cream? It's been done in other areas of the country, it's been done in other countries. Would the councillors consider this in our area? For example, in a local park, partnering with a cafe and with other outdoor spaces to promote sun safety in our city.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think it's a really good question. I'm really pleased to see you, and I'm obviously pleased to see you at council when you asked a similar question for council. We do have parks and with cafes in the southwest, so I think this is a great initiative. I know Ruth Bell, head of Parks and Countryside, has responded saying, interesting idea, explore the idea of our cafes in the area and feedback, also reaching out to other cities to learn where this has been done successfully elsewhere and what learning could be taken from that. But I really want to say it's a really good idea. Clearly, it's your personal experience. As I said to you, a friend of mine from university died at 43 from melanoma, so I know it's a growing problem across the country and in Sheffield. If we can make some little steps to prevent cases of melanoma, that would be really good. So Tanya, can we add it to our work plan? Can we pursue with Bell and if we need to pursue it with the relevant policy committee as well? But we will try and do what we can in terms of South West LAC, and we'll report back. Thank you very much for the question. Okay. Time is of the essence, so if we could sort of summarise the question. So, Robert Sanford next.
Sorry, can you use the mic for recording?
Yeah. The subject of my question is the state of the drained mill pond behind the Abbeydale Industrial Hamlet. It's been in its present state, as far as I estimate, for about 2 years. There's absolutely no sign of it being rectified, and it's presently been reduced to the state of a morass, as far as I can tell. I first raised my concerns about the lack of action to remedy the situation in August of last year, when I emailed the councillors for the Dore and Totley ward, and I was given a copy of a briefing note dated September last year, which essentially said that the matter was in consultation between specialist contractor, specialist consultant and the project team. And that's my interpretation of what was a fairly long and verbose document. I've pursued it further. On the 16th of December last, again, I received more information in similar terms. Consultation, no action. And again, in February, nothing has been done, as far as I can see. So my questions are these. Please confirm the date when the work to repair the dam behind the Sheffield Industrial Hamlet is due to start. 2, please confirm the length of time the work is scheduled to take. 3, please confirm the date when the mill pond is due to be refilled. And 4, please confirm the amount of money presently expended by the council on this project. Now, they're very specific questions, and I'll be grateful, please, for specific answers. What will not be acceptable to me is for it to be said the matter is still under consultation. I want to know what is happening. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Sanford. As I say, I can't answer that. I'll give you the answers here. I'm speaking here just as chair of South West LAC. I'm not speaking as either chair of the Finance Committee or chair of Countryside Parks and Leisure. And I understand those are probably the committees that make the decisions. It's, as you say, an important scheduled monument. It's currently closed to public use because of this. Aware of the importance for Sheffield. It's a key part of our industrial heritage, and we do need to make sure that the work you have asked for does happen. But all we can do is give the answers that Heather Davis and Mikhail Ishak have given, which is the current expectation is that construction on site will begin in spring 2026. Some of the works cannot be undertaken in winter months. The start date reflects this. The council team have been working to reduce the timescales and have made some positive improvements and are hoping to be able to bring start on site forward. It does depend on approvals for the Environment Agency, clearly, where the site the site is on the river sheaf, and the Environment Agency is the appropriate organisation, and Historic England, given it's a scheduled monument. So they have to give approval for any work, and that's something which the council project team has little control over. We hope so the answer to the second point, if we start in spring 2026, we would finish in autumn 2026. Once the design work is completed, that will go. It will be reported to Finance Committee. It's a capital programme, it's a capital scheme. It will be reported, and the spend will go through Finance Committee. Question 3: the mill pond due to be refilled once the repair works are complete. I can't say anything. It will be a slow process, as only limited water can be taken from the sheaf, so it would not affect the wildlife in the river. And the amount of public money, project sheets are not up to date. They believe that they've currently spent 440,000, just over 192,000 of which was at emergency works, and is still rising with the rent of scaffolding. So the spend is going to be significantly more than that. Clearly, this is public money. It will all be reported to Finance Committee. Are we able to put this on our items for the report back to the public? Because I'm not able to give Mr. Sanford the answers that he wanted, so we will report back to you when we have more information. But I accept your questions. They were very good questions. I'd rather not, given that we... can you speak to me afterwards?
The estimated date of commencement was mid-2025. That was last year. And that's now. And now it's being pushed back another year. I've nothing more to add.
I'm really speaking beyond my jurisdiction. I'm a little concerned about saying any more at this time. I will raise it with raise the item with the chairs of the committees involved. The local councillors and myself did have a visit to the site in November, where we were told of the importance of it and the fact that additional bids would need to go into various organisations. The council, as you say, is spending money on this. The council has no intention of having any long-term damage there, but it's a situation where the council doesn't enjoy not having a date for when the work is going to be carried out, or the completion. So all I can do is put it on our work programme. We will report it back. The decision-making bodies are, as I understand it, are Countryside Parks and Leisure Committee in the first instance, and Finance Committee in terms of monitoring the capital spend and bringing together the monies required for this. But it's a very important question you raise, and I'm sorry I can't answer and give you a full answer. But feel free to talk to us at the end of this meeting to see if we can give you any more information. Thank you. Okay, next question. Mike Hodson, can you summarise your questions, please?
Right, so the question really is, why is it take so slow to get details of quarterly LAC meetings when they only come out 7 days beforehand? I mean, it's clear that most of the arrangements must have been made long before that, but the details of this meeting only appeared on the Democracy Sheffield .gov.uk website on Thursday the 8th of May at the end of the afternoon. And the deadline for submitting questions for it was on the Friday morning, which doesn't leave very much time. So, is it possible to speed this process up? That's the first question. Sorry, the second one is, what's the timescale for updating the community plan, which is supposed to be due this year, 25-26? And how are the targets for the LAC and its community plan arrived at? There's no mention of the word targets actually in the community plan that I found on the website.
Okay, thank you for those questions. I think for speed time, I'm not going to read out all the answers.
I'm happy to have the answer in writing.
Yeah, okay, but you have this answer in writing. All I can say is, clearly, the council is limited in terms of webcast facilities. We have the AGM of full council on Monday. I know, I'm looking at Democratic Services there, that we were looking at getting the diary sorted as soon as possible in terms of all council committees, including local area committees. I think you are right that we should find a way of being able to give the dates and venues for the main events quicker, and certainly try to get the agenda goes out a week before and with the papers, but when we're doing a consultation, clearly we can put out the themes before that, so I do take that point. In terms of the community plan, clearly we did that survey at the start of LACS. I think you make a valid point that we need to work out what we're doing. There is a refresher. Carl's in the room, so he's heard your question, Mr. Hodgson, so it's something that we're working together as LAC chairs in terms of being clear what LACs can do, and the community plan was a key part of that. But I think, you can read the answer here, and it's a live document. We continue to respond to what our communities want in terms of their priorities. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Question from Paul May.
Thanks. I'll be very brief, and the first one's quite quick to answer. When will the new Southwest LAC website be ready? What do you intend to be on it, and how will it link to the existing sheffield.gov.uk and democracy.sheffield.uk sites? That's the first question. My second question relates to these meetings. They've changed in their structure throughout the last 2 or 3 LAC meetings. So I'm interested in if you've decided what the future pattern of these meetings will be, and what evaluation have you done of the previous meetings, and how, because it's a stated aim of the LAC to have a meeting structured to facilitate engagement between different community groups involved, how will you be able to address that particular problem? Thank you.
Well, I say because of time, I don't want to just read these answers. But
I'm happy to take a written answer.
Yeah, well, have a written. I mean, I think what we're trying to say is that we're trying to be flexible. We're trying to listen to what people want. We know roundtable discussions allow more people to be involved than just the councillors talking for an hour and a half. We don't think that would be particularly useful. Clearly, the webcasting equipment does limit what we can do. We had very little attendance when we had the meeting in the town hall, so I think there is a belief amongst members we'd rather have meetings out in the community where we can get, we seem to be getting this sort of 30 people or so, and we didn't get that when we were in the town hall, but it remains a flexible point. Tanya, do you want to say anything in terms of the first bit of the question?
Yeah, so Paul, I know we've spoken about the web pages previously, haven't we? And as you're aware, Sheffield City Council has sort of relaunched the web pages, which is where our former landing site was that had our community plan displayed. I do have good news in terms of the microsite. We've got the green light to go live in June, so it's imminent for this month, and we can't wait to share that. And the more detail in that, we can provide that response to you as well, Paul.
Okay, and last but not least, Viv Lockwood.
Well, thank you very much, Chair. Really, I'm asking for advice and support regarding the A625 proposals and what's going to be happening in the next month or so. You'll see from the minutes of the last meeting that the report to committee was due to be out in March or April. I've written to, just recently, I've written to the transport officers, and they now tell me that it's going to be out in June. But I took the opportunity as well to make a point to them, because I was anxious that when the report does come out, it doesn't repeat the experience we had with the Active Neighbourhood in Nether Edge initiative, where we became alarmed as a neighbourhood group at the number of inaccuracies and the manipulation of data, particularly in the report, and asked the senior officer in charge to promise that when the report did come out, there would be sufficient time before it went to committee for groups like ours and other residents just to examine what the report was saying. We received the promise, but actually that promise was broken, and the report, 1,500 pages of it, with the other things, went to committee 1 week before the meeting, which elicited a response from yourself, Chair, during the committee meeting. We don't want to go through the same thing again, so I asked the officer I wrote to, could this happen again, that we could have sufficient time to elapse before the report went to committee, and he said it would be the usual 5 days. I can't see why it can't be longer than this to give all residents and groups concerned about these large proposals more time to examine it and prepare a case, if a case needed to be made, and represent themselves at the committee.
Thank you very much. I'm going to be careful with my words. I'm answering, wearing two hats. I'm clearly answering as Chair of the South West LAC, but I'm also answering as Group Spokesperson on Transport, Regeneration and Climate. So this report was commissioned by the Council in response to the Department for Transport identifying the A625 from Moore Street roundabout to where it leaves the Sheffield-Derbyshire border as a road that had significant number of accidents causing injury over the past 10 years, and the Department for Transport was very keen that Sheffield City Council, working with South Yorkshire Mayoral Combined Authority, would make some interventions to reduce the number of traffic incidents over the next 10 years. So that's where the project has come from. Clearly, there was a lot of consultation last year. There were some very successful drop-ins. As spokesperson, the three of us, myself, Councillor Ben Miskell and Councillor Alexi Diamond, have not yet received a draft report on it. It was on our work programme, as you rightly say, to come to the March committee. We were advised by officers it wasn't ready. We were equally advised it wasn't ready to come to the April report. As you say, it is on the work plan to come to June or July. Myself and Councillor Miskell, maybe I'm being unfair to Councillor Diamond, but the two of us have both said it's a very important item. It will have to go to both the Labour group and the Liberal Democrat group for consultation. I think the three of us, including Councillor Diamond, will want to have some public engagement in the recommendations before the 7 days. Equally, the councillors of all 4 wards involved, so this it's not a South West LAC matter. So that's Broom Hill and Sharrow Vale, Nether Edge and Sharrow, Ecclesall and Dore and Totley, those 12 councillors for those 4 wards will all have a briefing before it goes public as well. So I cannot guarantee it will come to the June TRC committee. It is in the works. As you say, it's a very important report. I'm optimistic like you are. And I think I speak on behalf of Councillor Miskell and Councillor Diamond and myself that we cannot have a situation where we have a 1,500-page report going to committee with 7 days' notice of the 9 councillors to read it, let alone, as you say, the 550,000 residents of Sheffield. I don't think we should have such lengthy reports going with such short notice. So the 3 of us are very keen that we engage with communities across those 4 wards. So thank you very much for the question. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close the meeting. Very sorry that it's run over. I know some of you have been here since 6 o'clock for the drop-ins. Please put your feedback, put your comments on that on the feedback. But safe journeys back. We've obviously got AGM, Council AGM on Monday, and after that we will be coming up with the timetable in the diary for the meeting of the South West LAC in the municipal year 2025-26. So safe journeys home, and thank you very much for your attendance.